welcome to my channel, special Las Vegas edition. And today I'm on break with
Heather Ferris from Vegas ACES.
Heather.
Hey,
Yay!
thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm a fan, so I know quite a bit. I've gone through your Ask Me Anythings. As a manager, I was able to use a lot of your content, and I have it as reference for a lot of the students that were kind of developing. So, um, could you tell us a bit about yourself and the journey? The casino industry. Where did the casino industry take you?
The journey has been pretty incredible. So how I started um, was I was a secretary here in Las Vegas. Secretaries make $8 an hour. You can't, buy rent and feed yourself and pay bills at $8 an hour. And so my boyfriend at the time, he was like, well, why don't you be a casino dealer? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a casino dealer. I want a real job. I don't want to deal at casinos. And he's like, well, it pays more than a secretary, and you love games. You play video games all the time, and this is just you doing games for work. So why don't you give it a try? Okay, cool. So he helped me with school. I was able to go to school, and while I was at school, I got in a fight with the owner of the school. I had paid them like $600, and when I went in, they first taught me how to shuffle. So I went home and I practiced for hours on how to shuffle. And I came back the next day and I'm like, okay, I could shuffle. See, here's me shuffling. Now what's the next thing? And they're like, no, you have to spend a whole week on it. And I'm like, yes, I have to spend a whole week on it. Here's me shuffling. I paid you money. You're going to teach me just like I paid you. So come on, get on it. Teach me. What's next? And she did not like that. She hated me. Like, we did not get along at all. So after the first week of being in the school, she comes up to me and she's like, you think you're hot Well, I got an audition for three of my best dealers. You could go to the audition with them, and then when you fail, you could see that you're not as hot as you think you are. And I'm like, you got me an audition? Thank you. You're so awesome. Thank you for doing your job. So yeah, she didn't like me at all. So I went on the audition, and out of the four of us, I got the job and someone else got the job, and I didn't have to go back. So I was super thankful for that. So that's how I started dealing, and I dealt for 5 years. Now, here's the thing that people don't know. So I've kept this a secret. I haven't told anyone. I've made shit up because I don't want to tell people this. But because of the situation and what's going on, I've come to terms with it, and I'm going to start telling people my actual real story. Scares the crap out of me, but I'm going to do it. So I have a list of autoimmune disorders. And when I was a dealer, if you're sick more than 12 times per year, you're a liability. They fire you. They don't want you as a dealer because, you can't be sick more than 12 times a year. So I finally was able to get a job at the very last casino. I was able to stay past the 12-year mark. So I was able to get FMLA. And I stayed at my last casino for 3 years. And I was super happy about that. Like, I love it. I loved it. I love going there. And then 1 year I had a really bad year. Like, I was sick all the time. Like, it was just a really horrible year. And I lost my FMLA and I got fired for calling in sick too much. So my option was I could keep doing this, where I keep going to different casinos, I keep being sick, and I could keep, getting fired. Or I could apply for Social Security disability. So at 28 years old, I applied for disability and I got it. They said that it was a really hard thing to do because normally when you're that young, you just don't get it. They don't want someone that young to go on there. But I got it, and I was on disability. And after that, I had time on my hands. Like, Before this, I would either work, be sick, or sleep. Like that was my life: work, be sick, or sleep. And that was it. And when I went on disability, I actually had some time on my hands. Like I could get a hobby, you know? So I'm like, okay, um, what am I going to do with this time on my hands? And the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to put up all of my casino stories on the website. I've never done a website before. I had no clue what I was doing. I was horrible at it, absolutely horrible at it. But I wanted to put my stories on the website, and that was Vegas Aces. And that was the first thing that ever went up on the website was my dealing stories. And it was an evolution, of course. It's been 10 years since then. And I've gotten it to the point where it's at now. And in the progression of the story, 2 years ago, we actually took this to an LLC. So Vegas Aces is now an LLC. And the reason why I made it an LLC is because I was trying to own a business and use it so I could get off of Social Security disability, you know? And it's been a business for 2 years. It's been slow at first, but this last year has been really amazing. We got a lot of clients. We've done a lot of work. And in January, we were actually doing really, really good. Like we were bringing in a good amount of clientele, and then the COVID thing hit. And so everything was canceled. Everything had to stop. Everything's been turned upside down and everything. And I don't know where I'm going to go from here. But the thing is with COVID, all of a sudden, everyone's medical history is now out in the open because it's so important. Like, can you go out? Can you not go out? Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of people wanting me to go out. You know, I have people where I'm supposed to go and I'm supposed to do training for casinos. And another example is I had a NACPO presentation where I would go and I would speak to a group of people, and I can't do that anymore, you know, because I have a list of disabilities and autoimmune disorders, and I can't, I'm quarantined for the next year or two, basically. So it's really hit this business hard. And it made me feel like I actually have to tell people my story, because I don't think people really understand like the position that I'm in and why I'm not like going out and meeting people or doing stuff and that kind of a thing. And I've just tried really hard to keep it a secret, but there it is.
Well, no, thank you for sharing. Like that's, it's pretty difficult to kind of put that all out in the open, but in all honesty, I mean, you've accomplished so much in 10 years, and I know like it's difficult to kind of build, and it's just like every other career, and especially in the casino industry with everything that's been happening, I know it's been tough, but I totally have faith in you. I know what you're capable of doing, and I know your work ethic. I can tell, like for me to see you from 2015 when I was a manager, 2012 to 2015, to see you and the development of everything, and to see where your channel is at, and to see what you've done, I think it's amazing. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. It's just, that's life. Life's hard. That's what you do. You just got to keep going with it, right?
You're right. Nobody's gone through this, in our lifetime. Like nobody's gone through this. So, and the people that did, that was like a century ago. So yeah, I mean, this is so unique for everybody, and especially our industry. There's a lot of people that are out of work right now. So, it's we try to help each other as best as we can. So
definitely.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you've accomplished so much in 10 years. But where do you want to see your product 10 years from now?
Where I would like to see it 10 years from now is I would like to see the business up and thriving, where it's making money off of table game inventors, where we do marketing for table game inventors, and it's making money off of ads from the website. And we use that money to actually have a physical location where people can go and they can learn how to deal table games for free. That is where I would like to see it. And it's really hard to do because I've looked into it, and it's going to cost me about $100,000 per year to have a physical location where people can go and they can, practice and do all this. And I really want to provide that for people because I feel like they should have an opportunity to help lift themselves up, and they can lift themselves up by using these skills, by using this trade. And I don't want people to have to be put in a situation where they're having a really hard life or they're having a hard time making ends meet and they can't afford to go to school to make their lives better. If this is free, anyone could do it and anyone can make their life better. And that's what I hope to do with this.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Do you feel like our industry is missing something? You don't have to have any schooling or whatnot, but there is like a lot of skill involved with the game. Is there something that you feel that needs to be added for us to, as an industry to kind of grow and maybe be a bit more established?
So to be a bit more established, I think we're doing a pretty good job with that. And the reason why is because if you look at the history of gambling, gambling has never been established. In fact, gambling has always been, having this whole roller coaster of a ride where it's legal and not legal and legal and not legal. So we finally, I think, got it to a point in America where not only is gambling legal, it's sort of normalized, where people are getting used to it and it's just a normal thing, and it's not so much about the gambling as it is more about the entertainment. Like it's an entertainment type of a service that we give people. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as the other question where how we can grow as dealers is, I think a lot of what I see wrong with this industry is dealers are always told, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. But I think a lot of times they're not told why. Why do I not do this? Well, and when we're not told why, we lose that meaning, So if I don't know the reason why I'm not supposed to allow a player to use the cut card to run it along the edges of the deck, then if I don't know that reason why, I'm going to let them do it and it's not going to matter. It's like, well, what's the harm in that? That's because I don't know the reason why. Mm-hmm. I don't know that there are rings out there with cameras, and when you use that cut card to do that, you can actually see all of the cards in the deck, and then it's recording that in an app, and then they use that app to figure out what they're going to do later. Like, this is actually a thing. And I think a lot of dealers need to know the reason why we have the policies and procedures to begin with.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, you have some extensive experience with a few casinos. You're also tied with the UNLV, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm an adjunct professor over at UNLV.
And how is that?
It's fun. I really love that. That's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. I've been working with UNLV for 3 years now. Like I said, I'm an adjunct professor over there. So I have several classes a year that I teach. And it's been a lot of fun. I've taught people from all around the world. I've had an African delegation. And at the end of the African delegation, they gave me this keychain with an elephant with beads that I still keep on my keys, my car keys. Like, I love that. And the people that I meet are just so fantastic. They're all people in the industry. They all want to be better at what they do. They all want to know, what's going on. And they ask amazing questions. And it's just a lot of fun. I would get up between, I would teach four tables: roulette, craps, blackjack, and mini baccarat. And we would be at those tables in the UNLV lab, and we would go over, the do's and the don'ts and what to look for in table security and game protection. And it was just a blast. It was really fun.
Oh, so cool. Okay, so I have some quick fire questions for you.
Pew, pew.
Okay.
Now, you got to go with the first answer that comes to mind, but we can go back if you regret any of your answers. Okay, so it's 10.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be 10, so let me ask you your 10. Okay, you ready?
Okay, first thing on my mind. Got it.
Okay, favorite game to deal?
Roulette.
Favorite game to teach?
Blackjack.
Favorite game to play?
Pie got tiles.
Favorite casino you've dealt at?
Oh, Rio.
A casino you want to deal at?
Cosmo, so I can make $100,000 a year.
Best place to buy casino supplies?
Oh, Spinetti's.
Best convention in Vegas.
The Star Trek convention.
Favorite Star Trek franchise.
I love Deep Space Nine.
Best video game of all time.
Portal. The Portal series.
Ugliest Facebook friend.
Ugliest?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I only had 9 questions, so I was just messing with you. Where can people find you for contact and resources if they, as a new client?
The website is a great place to start, vegas-aces.com. You can find a lot about us on our About Us page. If you need anything in particular, you can always email me at heather@vegas-aces.com. We are on social media platforms, so if you want to watch us on YouTube, it's the Vegas Aces, one word. Instagram, it's Vegas_Aces_, and Twitter, it is Vegas_Aces.
Perfect. Funny casino story that you can share with the channel.
Okay, so I got naked stories, I got sex stories, I have stories, I have what are you wanting to hear? I have so many stories.
Usually I do censor out the swears, so.
Oh, okay, so no kid stories.
Yeah, so TV series, not movie series. How about that?
PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13, 14.
Okay, sounds good. PG-14, PG-13. Funny.
Funny, none of them are PG-14.
I know, right?
How about just,
yeah.
You can go any funny story, and we can censor the parts.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'll just keep going and you tell me when to stop. So in that case, the most extreme that come to mind, I was dealing at a casino. I probably can't say the name of it. I was dealing roulette, and it was a full night. Like, so many people were in the casino, you could not even move. And we had a guy on our roulette table who was super wasted drunk, and he decided it would be a good idea to put his beer bottle on the ground and try to pee in it. But of course he couldn't. And the place was so jam-packed that people were walking by that he was peeing on their legs as they were walking by. And I don't think they realized what was going on. And it's like, guys dressed up in suits, women in these gorgeous dresses with these beautiful shoes on, and they're walking by and they're looking the other way. And there he is like, I can't get it in the beer bottle. So, of course, I'm looking over like, oh my God, floor, we need some help over here, just so you know.
Oh my God.
So that was one. I had one guy on my blackjack table who he had to go to the bathroom. He had to go to the bathroom really, really bad. And he's sitting there and he's like, I gotta go. And we're in the middle of a shoe and he's starting to win. So he doesn't want to leave because he's winning and everything. So by the time we get to the end of the shoe, I'm like, well, don't you want to run to the bathroom real quick while I'm shuffling? He's like, nah, I already went. We're good. And my one of the players, she looks down, she's like, oh my God, he actually did. Okay. And there was a puddle and everything, and we had to close the table. And while I'm sitting there waiting for them to close and lock up the table, the cocktail waitress comes by and she's like, oh, someone spilled their drink. And she goes to like wipe it up. I'm like, don't touch it. Whatever you do, don't touch it. Hazard, biohazard. Walk away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got a ton of stories. I used to deal craps, and we had a couple actually have sex on the craps table while she's throwing the dice. Speaking of sex, I was at another hotel, and it was graveyard, and I'm going on break. And as I'm going on break, I'm walking through the slot machines, and I look over, and one guy's sitting on a chair and the other girl is like on top of him, and they're, having sex. And while they're having sex, she's playing the slot machine and everything. And I just see this and I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm going on break. I am not dealing with that BS. And I turned around and I went on break, and they just continue doing it. And I don't care. I'm not going to stop. And my break time is too valuable for that. Screw that.
And that's just on a Wednesday, honestly. Wow.
Yep.
Before we finish, is there anything that you want to say to the new dealers that are just breaking into the industry? This is a question we like to ask everybody. What advice can you give someone that wants to come into the industry and make it a career?
A lot of people have problems with this industry because you need to have a certain personality for this industry. You really do. And I think when people go into this industry, they don't get the right training as what this job actually is. You're an entertainer. You sit there and you entertain the guest and you keep them on that table for as long as possible, because the longer they're on the table, the more money the casino makes. But a lot of people, I think they get jaded because, people are losing, they're upset, they're angry, and that's going to happen. But they don't know how to handle that situation. And I think if they knew about their job a little bit better and how to handle those type of situations better, they would have a lot easier time. Not only that, they would make more money. So let me give you a couple hints as to how to do that real quick. First thing is, if you're not naturally an entertainer, if you don't like doing jokes, stand-up comedy, telling stories, that kind of thing, listen to people. People love talking about themselves. They will sit there and talk about themselves for hours, and all you have to do is just listen and ask questions, and that's all you have to do. That helps a lot. Another thing that really helps is when you're talking to your players, talk about something that interests you. If there's a football team that you're a fanatic of and you could just sit there and talk for 8 hours a day about this, do it. Do that, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to find players, you're going to find guests who love that same thing, and they're going to sit there and they're going to talk with you about what you guys love all day. And it won't matter if they're losing money, because they're having a good time talking with you about something that you love. If you enjoy your job, if you're happy with your job, then the players will enjoy your company and they'll be happy too, and you'll get more tips and you'll have a lot of more happier players versus the angry people and the depressed people and that type of thing. Now, what if there is a situation where you do have that grumpy jerk on the table, for example? Well, when people are losing, a lot of them want to be distracted. They don't want to think about themselves losing. They want to be distracted. Well, how can you distract them? Again, talk about something you enjoy. Talk about something they might enjoy. If they're wearing a t-shirt with their favorite movie on it and you like the movie too, talk about the movie. There's so many things that you can talk about. Or another thing, read the player. There are some players where they just want silence. They don't want you to talk. They don't want to be annoyed by, hearing you speak. They just want silence. If that's the case, give them what they want, because by the time they're done and they leave, they'll be satisfied, they'll be happy, and then they're more likely to give you a tip after that. So that's just a few things that, a few advice that I could give, a few bits of tips, whatever you want to call it. It's something for you guys. And if you want more, we have a whole course on how to give yourself a raise, and you could find that on my website in the courses section. It's in the menu, so just go ahead, click that, and that's how you could find more information on that.
Perfect. Okay. Heather's website is, or should I? I like doing that. It makes it fun. There, yeah, there. Let's make it.
Well, if you point down, it looks wrong. I'm just saying.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, taking time out of your day to join the channel, and I hope to have you on again.
I would love to be on. Thank you so much for having me on now, and thank you. Just thank you.